In alchemy, the symbols for fire and water are upward and downward facing triangles. This polarity is also represented in Western mysticism as sword and chalice. The chalice in question is, of course, the Holy Grail. Going with the Holy Blood, Holy Grail thesis, it's fitting that Dan Brown chose to portray the location of the tomb of Mary Magdalene right here, under the pyramid in Versailles, at the end of the Da Vinci Code. If the Star of David is the symbol of the union of male and female, then the star tetrahedron is its 3D equivalent. Drunvalo Melchizedek's volumes on the ancient secret of the flower of life show the human energy field, or Merkaba as it's known, takes the form of a star tetrahedron, male and female being inversions of each other. On a higher level, Richard Hoagland has shown how star tetrahedron geometry is implicated in hyperdimensional energy outflows coming from planetary cores in our solar system. Coming from planetary cores in our solar system. Star tetrahedron geometry is implicated in hyperdimensional energy outflows coming from planetary cores in our solar system. When a star tetrahedron is inscribed within a sphere, its points touch the sphere's surface at 19.5 degrees north and south latitude. On Earth, one of the tetrahedral points is on the Mauna Loa volcano in Hawaii, which is actually the largest mountain on Earth if measured from the seafloor. Similar energy outflows occur at 19.5 degrees north or south on Mars' Olympus Mons, which is the largest mountain in the solar system, in Jupiter's Great Red Spot, and Neptune's Great Dark Spot. Explaining these outflows requires a four-dimensional model of physics, where energy is gated from the Sun to the planetary cores through hyperspace. Energy transduced by each planetary body appears to us as heat in 3D, emerging from the most stable of all three-dimensional forms, the star tetrahedron. The simplest way of describing a physics that's based on the same geometry for both planetary and human energy fields would be, as above, so below, the Hermetic motto. Next on our tour is visualized with cubes in London and DC. Notre Dame Cathedral fits perfectly inside the Grand Arch. I'm guessing this is no accident. A tune in 3 octaves, if you will. I call it the Symphony of the Providing validation of this metropolis. In addition, the Arc de Triomphe is roughly double the size of the Arc de Triomphe de Carousel, and the Grand Arch is about double the size of the Arc de Triomphe. In the scaling of these 3 arches, I see 3 stargates representing the human, planetary, and stellar bodies, just as we saw symbolized with cubes in London and DC. Notre Dame Cathedral fits perfectly inside the Grand Arch. I'm guessing this is no accident. A tune in 3 octaves, if you will. I call it the Symphony of the Stargates. The dimensions of the monumental structure are cubic, with edge length measuring approximately 110 meters, or 360 feet. Researcher Jim Allison realized that 360 feet is also precisely equal to 210 Egyptian royal cubits. and I see that the office windows inside the arch are arranged in groups of 210, providing validation of this metrology. The exterior side's symbolic measure depicts 22/7 in meters. 22/7 is, of course, an approximation of pi. 12 columns. I already mentioned the axe historique is aligned with the heliacal rising of Sirius, known as the Star of Isis, but the Grand Arch is turned approximately 6 degrees with respect to this axis. This is, of course, no accident. Everything has a purpose. Can you imagine the mind-boggling planning that went into the Grand Arch alone? Groundbreaking architectural design that ties together layer upon layer of hidden symbolism, completing the hermetic masterpiece that is Paris. Jim Allison has found what the Grand Arch is pointing to. Are you ready for this? It points to the birthplace of Isis in Dendera, Egypt. This tiny out and back of the larger Hathor temple is known as the traditional birthplace of Isis. The location of the small cube within the larger enclosure matches the azimuth where the Grand Arch is facing. Remember that the heliacal rising of Sirius was the basis of the ancient Egyptian calendar. Well, here is where all of that started. This is where ancient Egyptian priests saw her bright star rising just before the dawn, signaling the beginning of a new year. Isn't it amazing that the Champs-Élysées and Pennsylvania Avenue share the same astronomical orientation with this tiny backwater in modern Egypt? Backwater it may be today, but symbolically it's the holiest place in the cult of Isis. With this tiny backwater in modern Egypt? Backwater in modern Egypt? Backwater it may be today, but symbolically it's the holiest place in the cult of Isis. Napoleon came here. Mason cut out this massive ceiling from the adjacent temple and ship it back to Paris. It's called the Dendera Zodiac and is now suspended in the Louvre. As you can see, the Dendera Zodiac has octagram star symmetry. More than a zodiac, it is a planisphere showing the whole cosmology as seen through Egyptian eyes. Another Louvre ceiling that gets to the essence of things is François-Edouard Picot's Study and Genius reveal ancient Egypt and Greece. Hancock and Bevall recognized the importance of this Hermetic work in their book Talisman. The painting allows the viewer to see Isis unveiled for Athena. This unveiling references Plutarch's first-century depiction of her temple at Sais, where it was inscribed, "I am all that has been, and is, and shall be. My veil no mortal hath ever raised." The term genius in the title is the epithet of the divine messenger Mercury, who is introducing Athena to Isis. I think the Western world, exemplified by Athena, is being introduced to the older stream of knowledge coming out of Egypt.
Πολλές φορές η μάνα μου, Θέμης και Γαία, ένα το πρόσωπο, πολλά τα ονόματά της, τον μέλλοντα καιρό μου είχε προφητέψει λέγοντας. Πολλές φορές η μάνα μου, Θέμης και Γαία. Ένα το πρόσωπο, πολλά τα ονόματά της.